think it's a different chat. Good morning. No, it is the right. Good morning. Hello. Happy Friday.
Friday.
Happy Friday. Crystal in Diamond Hearts. I should probably bring the tissues.
Maybe the cough drops too.
Huh?
Maybe some cough drops too.
Just honey, I did put honey here. Good morning. Who's in the house? So we can say hi. Welcome everyone.
Good morning,
Come in.
Valerie. Good morning, Carol.
Oh, good.
Good morning,
Beautiful
hearts. How are you guys doing today?
So much love.
Very happy that Honey has
A voice to
brought
speak.
back her health, even though there's a little cough, but there's some at least good transformations that have occurred and allowed us to at least be here, though we were expected to be in Long Island with our beautiful family of Long Island. So all dear beloved hearts from New York, we're with you in our hearts, and we look forward to coming back in September to do what we were going to do this weekend. But as we know, the universe always has its plan.
Its own divine plan.
Exactly.
Yeah, so welcome. Well, there's so much to cover today. But let us start with tea. My grandmother always said tea first before anything else. So let's see, what tea are you drinking today? Love to hear from you. We are having our
It's the mango tea.
this is the mango still peel tea, and I mix it with some honey. It's got super amount of antioxidants in it, and I love that energy of Southeast Asia, just that energy of the tropical fruits, and how you can really take, instead of like leaf, you can really take the skin that's carried all that sun spectrum in it, and because they don't pesticide it the way they do here, we can take it and use it, for its properties.
And mangosteen has so many antioxidants and healing natures to it. It's amazing when you look at the property of mangosteen, even though when we look at it in our supermarkets here, it's a bit pricey.
I told you it was $8. $8 for one mangosteen. Well, I don't think it was a pound. I think it was a pound.
It would be a pound. Well, when you
but it is, because that would mean like it's just 2 mangosteens.
For those that have ever had a mangosteen, on the outside it has the color of like an avocado, but when you open it, the sweetness of it, the taste
and
of
it's white
is nothing like you've ever had. It's like juicy, and when you have a really good mangosteen, it's literally like you want to have another.
Yeah.
Very similar to a lychee, or what we also have is our favorite rambutan.
Go get it. I love it. So let me see. Let's see. Happy Friday. Yes. Oh, Fiona, thank you. I feel so much better. I'm about to tell you, so much happened. Sorry, didn't get a chance to be with you guys on that Sunday because there's so much water purification from everywhere. So hi, Sunshine Live. And you're having Thai tea today. Nice. Oh, cinnamon and ginger. Fiona, I was having cinnamon and ginger and honey and lemon for this quite a bit, because just to help take care of this sore throat. So thank you so much for joining us. Voila!
So speaking of fruits, I don't know if anyone has ever seen a rambutan. This is a very interesting fruit. It looks like it comes from another planet, and it's really interesting because it's quite furry. I actually saw these growing when I was in Thailand in the north part, and they grow on trees. And it's beautiful because when you look at it, you would have no clue how to eat this thing, because it's very furry, very red, but when you crack it open.
Yeah. Michael and I, with my sons, we get a bag, fill it up, and we all eat it like this.
White little fruit, and to just kind of.
I have Michael usually peel it for me because I don't want to peel it.
So you have this white little fruit, almost like a lychee, but bigger, and then when you bite into it.
And then this is what you do.
Okay. That's what you do. You take
it as fast as possible.
But show them what's in the middle, because you have to be careful when you bite it.
Yeah, this is a fresh one. so it's lighter. But typically when it sits, it's quite darker.
So
Just
I'm gonna
FYI.
have one of my own because I'm gonna let her have her one. And so you just
It's so. When my sons come over Thursday night, last week we got a pack of them, and we just like none of us can stop eating it. It's so
they're
good.
very addicting. And what's amazing is in Thailand, you get a whole like pound of them for 30 baht, which is like $1. And so
I'm sharing.
So she's sharing. Thank you.
Yeah, lemon honey. I've had so much. Oh my God, the amount of ginger is so much. So I feel so much. So let me just. There's so much to cover. How are you all doing? Let's ask first how you're doing before we get into it. How you all doing? How has been this 3-6? We had the major gateway. We're about to go into 9 on Sunday. Then we move into the upcoming full moon. We have the
equinox
the
before the full moon.
no.
Oh,
we have that, and then we have this. Yeah, we have the solstice coming up.
Especially what happened for you guys yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday's gateway.
We both had very powerful.
We can't wait to share, but we want to hear from you first.
But we'd like to tune into if there's anything been coming up, and really what we really appreciate is just the real and rawness of as these gateways happen and all these just powerful waves moving through our atmosphere. How are you guys dealing with it? How is it feeling through your day-to-day interactions? Have you noticed anything about your celestial self? What's moving through your consciousness? What are the things that have been pressing on you, and the amazing gifts that always come out of it? So we know that these times always bring forth a great deal of transformation, and I find personally it's a welcoming of it. It's really an honor to really allow these to move forward in however form it comes through, because at the end of the day, we know that it is light that's being transformed through us. And a lot of times, others that may not be aware of it can easily judge it or even look at maybe symptoms that might appear as a cold is really.
But that was including you. You were concerned this week, right?
Yeah, and the concern is, not more of the concern of a judgment, but more the concern of just as a beloved, as someone that is a caretaker, and to learn obviously the beautiful lessons of allowing what moves through because of just
so in other words, just to share a few things. Oh, this is just coming up. Okay, so let's go back, not this past weekend, the weekend before that we had oh my goodness, so we had our SSSS with Safi. And so Michael and I we woke up that morning exhausted, like just so exhausted. Michael had a day of healing session that Saturday at, I don't know where you were.
I was at
Rise.
Yeah,
Rise, exactly. So we just want to bring you up to speed what happened, and then we had the next day we had our Sacred Sunday Spiritual Circle with our guest speaker, Safi. And she is the one that some of you may have joined in. She's the one who introduced us on 11/16/2016. That's how Michael and I met. So when I was teaching an event. So it was beautiful. And Safi's music is so profound. The medicine that comes out of her voice is just remarkable. And we happened to have a potluck too, which we knew we were just tired because
we woke up that morning feeling
so tired,
fatigued, but knew that this would be a day that we wanted to move through and allow through that. But after that day, what was interesting.
What was so amazing about that was that because our May, as we came back from North Carolina, it's just been jam packed. So and a lot taking place.
3 straight weeks.
Yeah. And hello, Sakura. Nice to see you, brother. So hello, much brother. Love. So it was so interesting. The very next day, which was hi, Demetrius, much love. And as soon as the next day, which was Memorial Day weekend, came up, and that weekend was very special for me because it was my grandmother's crossing to spirit side as well, which I talked about. But even on our Friday tea time 2 days before, you could tell Michael's energy was exhausted.
I spoke very little.
He barely could talk.
I barely could through.
So Monday morning, I woke up. Michael had slept in the other room because, sometimes I move around.
And given the official, that was supposed to be my first day. Sunday, I was like, I can't wait till Monday because we knew how busy it was and having a full day of clients on Saturday.
And we had taken a sort of 5 days really off just to relax.
Yeah, but
just listen to this.
So it was knowing that Monday was literally the first day because before there was all this emotional energy that was moving through Honey, through families, and just what's interesting about life, sometimes as you move through and what's on the calendar isn't a 3D, but what comes through our families in the universe are a lot of times what we take on in a surprise unconditionally.
Yeah, so, and it is also a collective energy because if we're going through it, we have to be transforming us.
So that Sunday night.
So Michael Sunday night
I
said,
slept in the other room.
He said, I'm going to sleep there because finally I get to rest. I said, of course, you go in the other room. I'm going to sleep so we both get our great sleep.
What did I say about Monday?
And he said, it's my first, I don't remember, my first official day of rest.
First official day off in a month. I couldn't remember the last time there was a day off. There was no service. There was no responsibilities of clients, and it's a true testament to what we're learning, balance and extension. And I just thought, I'm going to sleep in. I am just going to lie in bed and just do nothing all day.
So I woke up 5:30. Everything was spinning around me, the whole universe spinning. I wasn't feeling right. I felt my skull was about to come out. I had no idea what was happening to me. And nausea. I was like, what is nausea? What is happening? So I waited till 7:30. And as soon as I couldn't take anymore because by that time I knew something is so wrong in my system. And I actually need help. Usually I don't respond to that, but I knew something is wrong. So as soon as I got Michael, I was like, Michael. Boom, I ran into the bathroom and that was on till 12:30. I mentioned that I don't need to go into details about it.
I remember I woke up about, I remember.
And Mocha, all I know is Michael was like, what? I was like, Michael. And I was in the bathroom.
I don't know, for those mothers or for those ones that have been out there, but have you ever felt like you're on like this, but you're sleepwalking through it because you're present and you're giving your best, but somehow you're kind of caught in between dream state, caught in between what's really happening, but knowing that everything is spot on. You're on point, you're in the front, and you're moving, but somehow it's this foggy.
Michael was more like, what on earth is happening? I'm throwing up. I'm in the back. It's just horrible. So, and my head was about to explode. So Michael just with his eyes half, he's like, get on the table. Let me just put needles. So anyway, I want to fast forward through this because between the chakra balancing, between the acupuncture, between the massage, between me literally on the toilet, it was just horrible. And the whole time, which I talk about, which I didn't know what was happening to me. I knew it was severe ascension. And I was just determined I was not going to go to the hospital because I couldn't hold anything there. And it was so projectile. It was so severe. That was such a surprise to my system. Anyway.
And wasn't it funny, the last Friday tea time we were speaking about, we know these ascension levels, we know what's happening, but we can't blame the full moons, we can't blame the ascension days, we can't blame the race. We have to take responsibility.
I said that time, universe is like, oh girl, you think you got ascension now? Let me.
It's hilarious because usually when all these solar flares happen, these waves changes, we see it all on Facebook. It's hilarious to see how at first it's ascension, it's this, it's that, and then
you're
like, we can't blame that. So we have to take responsibility.
I took full responsibility. So while in bed, it's just miserable. I was like, okay. All I said, I'm not going to hospital. No matter what, I'm not going to the hospital. Just don't want to get dehydrated. But I couldn't even get the water there. At one point, Michael thought I had the faucets open. Meanwhile, just water. was coming.
Never
So,
hurts.
so anyway, but suddenly as I started talking to myself, I said, please start working with me. Please start like calming my systems down. And I just asked for help. So I saw the Great White Brotherhood of Light to come around me and to start supporting, to start assisting. So by the time I took a nap, by 2 o'clock I was completely shifted, and by 4 o'clock Michael and I were on the paddleboard, which in less than 12 hours everything shifted. But I knew it was like a massive storm came and went. Hurricane, tsunami, volcano, everything inside of me. But I knew something was happening. So let me just move you forward. And then that beautiful place again, like, wow, these things, so I learned that there were 50 hurricanes and tornadoes and earthquakes happened the same day. So obviously, and I talked to a few others, and I saw there were several people that I knew, different places on earth, went through the same thing I did. So it's like, okay, all right. So this was this massive quickening that took us all into the next octave, which makes sense for all of these alignments coming up. Moving forward, that week then went through quite a bit, which lies into just this past weekend, right?
This past week.
Right. So then, because I want to bring you here. So then, what happened was Wednesday went through a lot, like all kinds of. Then density started coming. It's like, wow, like what is all this density? Facing all this density, and all I remembered was like, wow, like my crystalline diamond. My diamond heart is really being invited to bring light to a lot of these denser vibration communication things from like last year, several months ago. All these withheld energies suddenly have come out that they need to be spoken about and hearted. So that took place. And then Thursday was the ascension. Then there was a shift of complete ecstatic bliss
And
on
Valerie,
Ascension
on
Day.
Ascension Day, thank you, Valerie.
Oh my
because,
goodness!
We did notice the Schumann resonance was
Schumann resonance
was beyond. So we were recognizing what was happening. At the same time, there were magical things happening.
Yeah, magic.
Along at the same
Pure
time, because
magic.
I had a moment where, with my mother, I went to the mountains, and it was just a phenomenal day.
Yeah, because we have to talk about that. We have to say what happened because that was Thursday.
That was Thursday, where I knew.
Wait. Was that Thursday or Friday?
It was Thursday, because Friday Archangel Michael came through.
That's right, Archangel Michael. So I want to tell you about that. So Michael, you have to share what happened.
One thing that I really want to bring forth is just the connection of when spirit chooses to show its magic, its signs, its symbols, its metaphors in life. And as many of you know, that with my dad transcending almost a year ago, well, last July, me and my mother chose that day to pick up some beautiful chairs for our new table. We've become official humans.
By the way, let us show you for a second. We finally have a table. For most of you that have come to our space before, we've been sitting on because we host a lot here. So we finally have a real table.
We bought one of those small little Asian tables.
Thanks to Michael's mom for gifting us.
So we went to the mountains to get these chairs, but more specifically.
No, Michael and his mom. Yeah. I was at home.
My mother and I went, and it was really interesting because this was the same path that my mother and father would always go to the mountains. And this was a place when I was young. It's called Cunningham Falls in Frederick, Maryland, where it has a beautiful hike to the mountains. When I say mountains, I call them like foothills, because in the East Coast, our mountains are like 1,500 feet compared to the real mountains, the Rockies, the Canadian Rockies. Those are like 16,000 and higher. Right. These are little foothills, but
we're
to us,
proud of his. We call them mountains.
We call them mountains because we get from 500 sea level to at least 1,000.
It's exciting.
So it's exciting for us to go. Anyway, on the way, one of the most powerful things happened because, just to fill in, before we left, I just said a little prayer and asked Archangel Michael to clear the path and really just to create a beautiful, magical day. So as we're driving on the exact same route that my mom and dad would take when he was post-stroke and had their adventures to just drive to the mountains, we're driving, and all of a sudden, in the middle of the road, in the median, was this incredible, huge hawk with its face straight down on the median with its wings spread. And both of us were like, in complete shock. My mother thought it was an owl. I was just bewildered because I've never seen an animal that big. In between, if you think of a 2-lane highway, just cars going back, straight in the center where both the yellow medians were in the center of where the bird was. So immediately my mom's like, oh my gosh, we have to turn around, we have to bury it. I can't believe this is horrible. And I was like, taking the other aspect of like, wow, what transformation. Can you believe that this animal gave us this opportunity to note what's happening? Because a lot of times we look at death, we look at misery, we look at the fear, we look at the sadness. I completely shifted. Said, if you really want to turn around, then we can easily, go bury it. But we don't have gloves. We don't know what state the animal's in. Long story short, we were just like mesmerized because my mom's like, well, you thought it was a hawk. I was like, Mom, you thought it was an owl. I was like, either way, it was a sign. So we're sitting there just thinking, wow, what transformation. Literally 5 minutes later, when we turn off 97 to 26 to the mountains, in the middle of the road was this thin little black coil over the median, which immediately looked like a snake. And I jumped, and I stopped the car to look at it because I didn't know if it was a snake or what it really was a piece of a car tire. But it looked exactly like a snake. Either way, it didn't matter because that snake was another symbol of transformation. Again, over the 2 median double lines in an S shape. And I'm like, Mom, isn't this strange that within 5 minutes, so we're talking about my father, I started to talk about honey and just saying how grateful I am, like my father, to have not only a beautiful partner, but to have a mother. And that's when we start talking about the divine mother and the mother energy. And we're connecting, we're laughing, because I made this joke of like, oh, those mothers, they keep a close eye on you. And we both laughed from our hearts so deeply that all of a sudden a bird dive bombs into the window and at the last second jumps out. We're like, oh! And we just like stopped. And I kept driving. I said, this is, as my dad would say, far out. And it was amazing to see this bird, yellow bird, come in and out. And we just sat there. I was like, wow, look at these symbols. And we started talking a little more. Long story short, we ended up going to Frederick, bought these 2 chairs, and then just my mom thought, we should go to a beautiful, wonderful restaurant. I'll treat you for lunch. So we're sitting there, and my mom was at this cute little cafe right off Market Street in Frederick. Inside, it just
Valerie used to go to Cunningham. That's so cool.
Okay, so Cunningham
Falls.
That's
great.
So Valerie, that was my childhood level of when we grew up, we'd always go to Cunningham Falls, a small little lake,
That's
a beach,
so cool.
A cute level. So we're at Market Street, and we're sitting down to eat at this cute little restaurant. It's inside it's this light color pink, and when you walk into a restaurant and just feel the warmth and comfort. So we're sitting there, and the waitress comes over and she starts to take our meal. Well, we've never heard of what happens when a tornado alert comes through the area. Well, the tornado actually beeped our phones like nothing we've ever heard. We've heard Amber Alerts, we've heard all these other. All of a sudden, we heard this like woo woo. We both look, and she's like, "Oh, that's a tornado alert!" Like the waitress is like, "Oh, that's just common here."
And we don't get tornadoes.
We don't get
here.
tornadoes.
Just FYI, we don't get tornadoes here.
So we're sitting here, and all of a sudden, the waitress takes the order, and then we look outside. And we got there; it was cloudy. Then the wind started coming. Then the water started coming. I mean, outside, it looked like a disaster. The streets started filling up with water to the
total flood.
Total flood. And we're
like flood.
Like the water's coming up higher, higher, higher. People can't cross the street. The water's now coming up to the street, into the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And me and my mom were at the window looking out at it. And the most amazing thing happened. I'm sitting here and we're talking. And as we're talking, I hear Bob Marley singing, "One love, one light, let's get together."
But wait a minute. But that morning,
Right.
That morning in my morning prayer, Michael's dad.
That was the next day.
No, it wasn't. It was the day before or something. He came,
the day before he said.
The day before Michael's father came into my prayer, and he said, "Tell Michael, play this song."
Three Little Birds.
And I had no idea what the reference to it was. So Michael and his mom are at the restaurant, and suddenly this comes up while the water is coming up.
I mean, when you look outside, it just looks like
if you
scene.
Google it, you see Frederick flooded. Frederick,
so,
Maryland. How much water
so
came
the wind's
up.
flowing. Me and my mom are looking like, well, we have nowhere to go. We're just eating here, and everyone's looking outside. You see people outside with their phones because the flood's getting higher. Everyone's video recording it. And so I'm talking to my mom. I said, isn't it interesting how in life, here we are separated by this simple veil of glass.
Yeah.
Outside is this horrible disaster going on. Inside is this pure, beautiful, loving, incredible place. I said, isn't it amazing? Right when we place our attention, when we place our attention toward love, see what type of vibration. But once we put our attention toward fear, as soon as I said fear, all the electricity went out. I turned to my mom like, this is getting pretty wacky. I mean, like at that moment, to hear that and the electricity, as soon as I said, give attention to fear, and all the electricity went out for like about 10, 15 seconds. We looked at each other and we're like, wow.
Well, you know what? You know what was so interesting in that moment? So while Michael was with his mom in Frederick, Maryland, and all of that, I was blessed that Ascension Day. So I was creating my last few pieces, but the two particular one was for my sacred brother, my galactic brother, Darius and Predrag in Nice, France. They're very dedicated, Mary Magdalene. And some of you have heard about Darius. Darius has been on the land with me. Darius knows, Michael as well. So does Predrag, but he's a former physician oncologist that gave everything up to serve his galactic mission. So he's amazing. We're going to bring him to DC so he gets to share. You'll see him soon in the fall. But anyway, so I was finishing creating, and we were just this back and forth sending the messages I was receiving, the codes I was receiving, incorporating into this. I was like ecstatic bliss between the video, sending it back and forth. And then at one point, it gets so vibrationally so high. I'm leaving light messages for them. So then the electricity go out. And I was like, wow. Like, meanwhile, I'm here. And then the thunder, I was like, wow. Like, look what happened. The frequency is so high.
And the funny thing about that whole day was
because this is last week Thursday, because I've got to tell you what happened.
So what was very interesting about that Thursday, which Honey's like, this is Ascension Day. I was like, what's Ascension Day? Because I didn't know that this was deemed as Ascension Day. She's like, it's Ascension Day. Just be aware. So that day before, Honey was like, even the morning, she's like, well, I can meet your mom and you're up at Frederick if you want to meet out for lunch. I could go pick up the chairs. And I'm thinking in hindsight, like, wow, look what happened in this day where literally the storm came through. Everything flooded. We still stayed at the restaurant. We ate. Then, like magic, all the water drained back into the gutters. Everything normalized. And I turned to my mom. I said, okay, let's just drive to Cunningham Falls just to see if we can still hike. Because as you remember, Valerie, the hike to the waterfalls, it is a small little slope. So anything that rained would just come into the lake or into the ground. So we get there. There's no one there. And wow, driving up into Cunningham Falls to see the green. And if you notice, I'm sure you live in Hawaii, when it rains and you see the leaves, you feel the fresh air. There was not one other car, maybe two cars that were there. And we just hike. And as we hike, we just feel the presence of my father. We'd stop many times looking up, just feeling the gratitude. Every time we thought of him, our tears came down. The wind would blow, so the water would drop from the trees. We went to the falls. We sat there for a little while where my mom was just like, wow, it's been a really long time since we've been there. Had a magical hike of just really feeling the energy. Went down by the lake and walked around the chairs where we saw this beautiful redhead bird where my father would sit many times at the picnic table to look at the lake. And it was just magical because when you get to enjoy a place where very few people would go after a tornado / flash flood / report that most people would take cover, once it passed through, we thought, okay, let's enjoy this place. And it was amazing to see how that magical day of all the signs, all the areas that I was telling Hunzi, wait till I tell you about these symbolic levels that I saw from, the dead hawk in the street, the snake, and then the bird, and then even greater, coming home the next day, taking the same route again, and thinking about what happened, I was like, I can't believe I saw a snake on the road, and it was actually a fake snake when I turned. Right when I had that same thought, on the same highway, I turned to the left, and there was a real snake, sissing this time with its tongue out, and I looked over and I said, this is just unbelievable, because here I am looking
It
at
was the cosmic mother.
cosmic mother.
In.
And then when I turned on the road where the fake snake was yesterday, where it was swirled in an S, this time it was the exact same place, but in a straight line, where I took a picture of it. And I thought, this is just so symbolic of what was going on. And that whole time, that as I was driving home on Friday, that's when Honey had a powerful experience.
So then what happens? So Michael.
Good morning, Letty. Thank you, Letty, for joining us.
So Michael ended up spending the night at his mom's on Thursday night. So my sons came over. Here's had a chance to spend that time, and that I woke up in the morning to the most beautiful email message that just brought me so much cheer. So no, that was after I went first sat in my morning meditation prayer. So when I sat in my morning prayer, which later I felt guided for the May 31st to do a live stream at 11 a.m., which some of you may have participated. But what happened earlier that morning was that in my morning meditation, when I was in my morning meditation, as usually meeting everybody, all the team above, but when it came to Archangel Michael, and I, as always, I said, good morning, Archangel Michael, and I get to see him and, draw the diamond and all of that. But this time, this has only happened like in this level of frequency. I experienced it on 7/17 2 years ago when Archangel Michael came through me, and I was on the other side that brought the message, which Michael does always healing through that. Then the other time was Archangel Michael, when Michael was working
healing on you,
and he put the sword into my crown, which I talked about. So this time, Archangel Michael, he stepped, like he went through the dimensions, and I noticed like it's coming closer and closer and closer and closer into my field, which was so overwhelming. So he came very close to my field, gigantic blue presence, ginormous. And he came, I saw his hands coming to top of my head and took the sword out, and it literally came out, so I could see the cosmos still spinning inside of my prana tube coming out. And as he brought the sword out, he took the sword and the top of the sword, and like almost like slow motion, and he pointed all the way towards like source light, the tip of it. And when he did that, it was like my vertical axis was following the tip of his sword. And when it went to source light, it was this, he pointed it to the center of the diamond heart of source light. And when he did that, this explosion of light happened where I just started hollering tears, because I couldn't even contain the vibration of love. It was so ecstatic for my bodies to contain that level of stream of the flow of light coming into me in the golden particles, and like filling me. Like I couldn't even, I just teared, because it was so intense, and intense in its magnitude of love. And then from there, like by the time I tried to even contain myself back in meditation, then the next thing was meeting my friend's mother, who's crossed over, who I'm very close with, but I haven't had interaction with her since she's crossed over now 2 years. So she dropped in, and she was in Ashtar Command, dressed in blue with these blue sort of like headpiece things, and she was showing me inside Ashtar Command. And I mean, again, more weeping, because I just wanted to be there, and she was communicating to me telepathically where she was and how ecstatic she was. And all I felt like I wanted to be there. She's like, I'm finally here. And I'm like, oh my God, take me, you know? And bliss. And then from there, then Michael's father drops in. And I can't remember what he said. What did he say?
He said what was powerful when Honey called, because she called in tears that morning. He says, oh my gosh, your father dropped in. And because I spoke to Honey.
No, I left a message crying. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Michael
So I still have it, so I want to play it back because there's 2 levels that she said to me. But to catch those that are coming up, like when I was driving, was that the bird that was in the middle of the road that was dead. He said
that Michael's father came to tell me, give a message for that.
Give a message for that. That the reason why that bird was there was to clean the dead emotions. And literally what the dead emotions he was referring to is
Michael and his mother.
Of Michael, me and my mother, of all the old emotions that we were cleansing and clearing from his.
And he said he did that.
Yeah.
He said that was from him.
That was from him to cleanse and clear as the death, to transform all of those old emotions, which were the grieving, the sad moments, and what I really felt.
And he said it's time for celebration.
Time for you guys to enjoy, because what we had a lot of times is, for any of us, when we lose a parent, lose a close loved one, and maybe when they go very slow, that sometimes those last moments are the hardest moments. And I felt that message really was to look at us. Those moments now are to release and to let go. Now to move forward and to enjoy. And to really, what I feel is when we look at someone, is to celebrate really the good and beauty of their life versus focusing on what's very easy, those last moments, which were very challenging for us. Because I know that me and my mom had, many times we'd look back and we'd think of what we did well, what we didn't do well, and just kind of converse of like, wow, we made it through 4 years of caretaking. And when Honey spoke to that, it was like, it was just another sign to show, because we've never seen, I wish I had a picture. I mean, if you can imagine a hawk with its wings spread in the middle of cars driving by, and we're just like, wow. So when Honey
because
spoke to
those
that,
animals are there from spirit side, angels, masters. They communicate to us with very specific message when they bring it. They're very specific information. So that morning, like while Michael was still sleeping, like I'm having this experience between Archangel Michael and my friend's mother Maria, and who didn't speak a word of English here on Earth. They live in Spain, and so over there she's communicating to me in light language and from Astral Command. And meanwhile, why that's so significant is because the some of those words, like the transmissions you see, some of those are from the fleet ships these past several months, and some of the other ones which you'll see coming up. I've been in the fleet ships, like getting the codes of light and like drawing them, literally bring the transmissions in. So anyway,
on
Ascension Day, which was so important, and I left that message, which was so important. And then I moved forward to I had my client, right? Was that day?
That was the Saturday.
No. Then I had the 11/11. I had my. At 11/11, I did the live stream, and some of you may have seen, like, it was very emotional, the power of it was so much. And, we talk about cosmic alignment. We know what's happening. We're extending. Our bodies all of our bodies are ascending to another level. But there is sort of like this delay reaction between all the bodies till they come into full alignment. So that was quite a bit of my system. Then the next day, till Michael came, then we had a chance to talk about everything. It was just like, I couldn't even like talk, because it was just so overwhelming. And I interacted this time. So if I say because it was too much in my field, and I could see the presence is coming into my field. I'm sharing this because it's important what took place this week. So next day, Saturday, I had my light code transmission with a client who's from Guatemala living in New Jersey. Oh my heavens. This light I've done now, I can't even tell you how many, over 100 light code transmissions where all the different codes of light coming in, using the light language and clearing, and then bringing the light code transmissions. So when it came to the light code transmission part, bringing it in, I was at a level that I up until that moment, I had not experienced a level like this. The way it was at least like 54 different languages of light that were spoken through me so fast, because I can't do it in this plane. I have to be in that consciousness to bring it in. And then what was happening with my hands, they go typically really fast, but I saw multiple different beings that step forward. They said, we'll take over now. Like you're inside the controller room, like not a controller room, like the dark, I don't even know how to call it. And we'll do the work through. She wrote a testimony afterwards. I mean, it just, I had no words for what took place in there. All I know is the transmissions are getting stronger and stronger, because through the fleet ships, through many of us who are starseeds, these light codes are coming in because they're being anchored in Earth. And what's important, this has to do, Michael and I are in a sacred union, but we're also the specific rays of light. We are in a unison together, and then this comes in. And as this comes in, this goes into the Earth's grid. It also goes into the stratosphere on Earth. So we're uniting through the diamond crystalline fields with each other and helping the ascension. Those of us who are starseeds, we're here to lay that foundation to help the rest of the humanity. So that, I mean, there's just so much going on, and I know, Demetrius, you got plenty to share on that. So from there, then I woke up the next day, Sunday, with like throat ache. What's also significant about this is my friend from New Mexico had come. She was one of Drambolo's teachers, ex-teachers, and she's the one that I had done the Awakening the Illuminated Heart. And what's significant is that 7 years before this powerful experience I had with Archangel Michael, it happened to be with her. So here she is coming to DC, and a day later, I've had this experience with Archangel Michael again, and I was also creating one of her transmissions bracelets. And the other part of it was significant. I hadn't seen her for 3 years, because when I had come from Europe, for the 1010, I was sent, instead of being in Egypt, I was sent to New Mexico to do the planetary work by Magdalene, because I didn't understand why Magdalene codes had to be there. And that night, I spent the night at her house. And it was the next day before I flew out. The next day, I was going to go hang out a little bit. I hear Mary Magdalene say, look at the map. And I look at the map, and she's like, open it. And I open it, and there's a tiny, tiny little town in New Mexico called Magdalena. And suddenly, all my body lights up, and she says, go. And I go to this tiny little place that is dedicated to Mary Magdalene. Like, it just, I mean, talk about one after another. And that's right before I met Michael. So there's a lot of this happening. So there's all of that divine timing. Anyway, I woke up Sunday morning, throat ache, eyes started watering, nose, chills, and I've had that till Wednesday morning.
That Saturday was the day I did rise, because that Sunday I was like, oh, I have it. I'm like, that day I was like, now I have an official day off.
Now you have an official
day off. That Monday was like, I wanted a day off, but that didn't happen because of her. So that Sunday after working at Rise, that was like, there's my day off. And of course, I always have to be careful what I say to the universe, because they say, oh, I want a day off. They're like, well, if you want a day off, maybe wait till your next ascension, because right when you think you're going to have something planned, the universe gives a whole nother.
But what's important about this is that, because even that happens, right? So, I knew I couldn't have been more grateful these past few days. I couldn't have been more, Fiorella, we were supposed to be at Lichia's birthday. I couldn't, like, it was just all coming in, sneezing, sniffling, coughing, everything began. But I knew oh my goodness, celebration inside. These frequencies between Archangel Michael, all of that, like it came to purify all the fluids in the body. Because see, the fluids in your body have to get purified because that's your emotional body. And every level is getting purified because you're synchronizing to the fluidity, the fluid, the water on Mother Earth. Divine Mother is coming in. Divine Mother is here. The sacred rise of the divine feminine is here. And it is through the emotional body. But we cannot be living from our emotional body. If the emotional body must be very stabilized, if it's in turmoil, it's a disaster. So then we have these blessings as it's coming to get purified and clean. And it's very important not to misjudge it. Oh, I'm sick. Oh, I have a flu. None of those. It's the highest grace of ascension. And if you saw it, every post I said, I love ascension. I'm so grateful. I'm so ecstatic. I keep telling my body, I'm so grateful to you. I even got into a little bit of an argument with Michael because he's like, oh my God, we have event. Tomorrow we were supposed to be in Long Island. Well, tomorrow is the event, but we were supposed to leave on Wednesday night. And Michael was like, you got to get better. And he was coming from such a worry and concern. And that really upset me.
I was coming from my caretaking because the week before I saw what happened in a day. And so, it's interesting when you said purifying of fluids. That was more of purifying fluids the week before when it came from a complete wash. And what I've learned, and it's a very, very important lesson after speaking to a really good friend, is when when you're in a loving relationship, and especially when you're a healer, to create healthy boundaries, because a lot of times, even in our school, and they always say, be careful. Like we want to extend our health. We want to extend our way of helping them. But at the same time, each person has a different perspective of what they see rest is. Each person has a different way of how they heal. And it's very important for me to create healthy boundaries of how much I can do, but also let go and just allow what the universe is going for. Because at the end of the day, we know that there's this unconditional love of just wanting the other person to get better.
So of course, Michael is coming from that concern. Are you, my God, like you get a rest? And I was like, wait a minute, don't come to me with that. That vibration doesn't match me. I couldn't be more grateful to the intelligence of my body that is purifying its field. Look what's coming up. Oh my God, we're between 369. It's the Magdalene coast. We're living inside the Magdalene coast this here. And it's about to, we have this alignment coming up, this habit. Like I couldn't be more in celebration of it. Meanwhile, Michael was concerned, oh my God, what will happen? What will happen to you? And you can't serve on Saturday. Meanwhile, I'm like, okay, like if I can't serve, then I can't serve because I do need my voice in order to do the activations and all of that. So we went through it, and Michael's idea of rest is slightly different than mine. To me, is if rest is like when I am on like that following me, but I am like completely non-functional and I can't even function. But otherwise, I'm functioning. I'm very active because I don't give the energy to any other part of me that wants to take over me, determine for me that something's wrong with me. I stand on top of it. It's like, no, you don't. I'm in charge here. This is just gonna pass. It's just a storm. It's gonna pass. You're not gonna come identify that as me being sick or anything. So I don't even give it that attention. But
my perspective of rest,
my
perspective of rest is like off the computer, off the phone, and just to embrace what's moving through, and just doing less activity, less energetics, just giving the time for the body to just take on what it's going through, and just allow less energetic action. But if anyone knows Honey,
that doesn't vibe with me at all. So there's that So
Honey knows Honey, still this is not
no. For me, it's like not running up, but like taking care of a few things that makes me that's my rest. Anyway, so moving forward, we had to make it in the decision. So by the time Wednesday came, because we had to drive that night to go to Long Island, Michael had his healing session on the Friday. Tomorrow would have been my event for the light code transmission activation event. So we talked to our beloved sister Conchetta, and because we have this one, then this month and July and beginning of August is so packed for us. And I was like, Michael, it's pretty like simple. We talked about it. So I need this to pass. I don't know how many days it takes. By the time probably I get to Friday, Saturday, I'm going to be all well. But I like that frequency. I must be totally aligned to serve. And here's another thing with a lot of light workers, star seeds, or ascension guys, or pioneers, or leaders. Sometimes we just push ourselves and push ourselves. And for me, for me, it's the higher responsibility. If you have a session with me, and if I'm off alignment, that is the highest responsibility. Like I didn't even create for 4 days with this, because I'm like, my vibrationally is mismatched. I need this to go, because I can't do it, So I don't serve at all, because I feel I will not be in my highest vibration to allow this high transmissions to come in. I hurt myself and I can hurt others. You see what I mean? So, and I feel a lot of the healers come from that wounded healer. Well, let me still do it. Even I'm not feeling good, let me sacrifice a little more. And I feel that consciousness really needs to change from a place of self-love, highest self-love, because you're responsible to, you don't offer that service, or even there's a full event plan. No way. Because out of love and out of respect for what I'm working with, I can't. So I do feel a lot better, but I knew I couldn't, because I'm going through a lot of coughing, and I just can't work with that vibration. So we had to make that decision. And by the way, for you folks in Smithtown, thank you so much for understanding. I don't like the word understanding at all, because that's not like that's a language that I really want to change around, not even use that word. Say understanding, heart standing. Thank you so much, because you heard it, and we rescheduled it for September 7th, and we look forward in returning. But this gives us the ability to take care of several things and rest it off. And
what's also interesting, I was telling HoniB the other day, it's amazing that, as you just said, Valerie, it's really a testament to our own love. And many times when we have things planned, when we have commitments, it's very easy. I caught myself into the excitement, but also the commitment that we have with others. And what a testament it is to take the time to honor ourselves, even if it's a crucial event that we depend on certain areas, but to know that it is that honor within ourselves to put ourselves first, and to really allow ourselves, no matter what happens, we have to be at 100%.
Yeah.
And the second thing is what I really love about the universe.
Wait. What, the other part, right in there, and you don't ever serve because you need money. You don't ever serve because you need to pay your bill. That is such an old consciousness. You serve because you're called to, and it's independent on that. You serve because it's your mission to serve. So for us, okay, that's that love donation that comes to us is very important part of our next trips. But no questions asked. Universe has our back, no problem. Like zero, because the highest self-love knows your health, and we have you. So we're not going to go from that. I would never go to somebody who's not looking right as a healer to want to do healing. Are you kidding me? You're not taking care of yourself. You better not come anywhere near me. That integrity is so key for me.
And what I was continuing with is
no,
that's right.
Yeah.
It's thank you for
because
sharing
it ties
that.
into that.
Thank you for sharing it. Is how the universe so elegantly shares that no matter what we plan, and this is what I love sometimes when we try to plan things out, yet the universe shows what's going to happen, that when the planned event all of a sudden shifts, that's when almost like the antennas come directly up and say, okay, this time has been given. How can we maximize and really be grateful to what has been provided to us? Because when we're in that presence and we feel what's arising, there's this magic that automatically unfolds. It's sometimes even bigger than what we could actually plan.
Yeah.
It's those days that sometimes, like, you guys know, when you don't have a plan and you go do something and you just follow each step as it comes without planning what the next thing is. And at the end of the day, you're like, wow, that day couldn't have been more magically planned
because divinely
because we were
guided.
guided. And I find that in life, a lot of us, we plan so much, and it's important to have the dates and to have everything aligned. Yet at the same time, to step back and say, can there be some flexibility or even openness? I do this in my travels a lot. I would go to an area and I would have sites that I want to visit, but I'd also allow the universe to guide me and to see the symbols, to see the metaphors, to see different things that would align directly in, that would be so perfect that I wouldn't even know how to plan that if I tried to do it my own. So I find with this opening up, one piece is obviously for our rest and for our well-being. And another thing that I find is really important is, many of us are caretakers. Many of us are light workers. I know, Demetrius, you're in a position, and I know a lot of us have a lot going on, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, of how important it is just to step back and honor our own rest, our own well-being, and to take that personal time for ourselves. Because what I recognize as HoniB's blowing out of our kananas is that things are moving so fast right now. Things are happening at such a galactic speed that it really requires a discipline of self-love to honor this balance of what we are doing in life. Because we are in the Mid-Atlantic, I know Demetrius here in London, a lot of us around the capital, there's so much happening, so much going on. And for HoniB, it's a huge testament to really look and say, okay, we're doing all these things, but what time do we have for ourselves to rest, to play, and to enjoy this moment so that we're not exhausting ourselves? Because the trend now is more is better. The trend is if I keep going and keep playing and being productive, that's going to give me more achievement and success. So it's a huge testament when these
I feel that the higher consciousness, so through this ascension, and what was so important, we had to make that decision before yesterday's portal gateway was so significant for us to be here. And let me just get into that a little bit, because we had the 6-6. So I'm glad, Demetrius, you start talking about the center of the solar systems and all of that, because yesterday, this month of June, we're getting ourselves ready to go into the solstice energy, where there's that total, the longest light day of the year, so there's that expansion of light coming out. That expansion of light is in all of the bodies coming out. There's the streamline of about all the solar flares, everything coming in. The plasma within us is expanding. So that means more of the codes that are within our DNA are becoming available. The more we're in ease and peace and joy and flow, the more they're becoming accessible, which means there's more information. And from that being information, it allows it to expand out to the universe. Now, yesterday was very significant. We had 6-6. So let's go back to first June 3rd, then we have June 6th, then we have June 9th. 2019 adds up, that's 12. So we've had 3, 6, 9, 12. These are the Magdalene codes. So what's interesting, all the diamond code crystalline necklaces and malas I've been making, it's been encoded in the 369, and then so I completed it this week with this 369. This is very important because that is the voice of the Magdalene, the voice of that presence, the she energy on Gaia, and it is the crystalline heart. It is through the diamond heart. It is through the 33 petals of the diamond templates of the unity flower of Mother Earth. The Mother Earth's energy is shifted to Gaia. We can't even call her Earth anymore, because the Earth used to be a resonance in which through the let's say manipulation was created. Gaia is her clear vibration. It's a fifth dimensional frequency that is crystalline, that is Christed. That means the feminine Christ, the masculine Christ has come into it. The rise of that chi energy, the divine mother, the dragons have come to help lift this. So this is so important. And as a result of it, this 6-6 was so important because we had the energy of the 6. One part of the Merkaba, if you look at it, is like the 6 points, and then you have the other 6, which is the 12, and the 12 ties into the Lemuria. The Lemurian seeds the original 12 that were creating the light transmissions within the center, and from that light to come out through the crystalline field. So there's a lot of that awakening coming back. Yesterday was so huge. The other part of it is the wholeness of the divine sacred masculine, divine sacred feminine, coming in this unison of the 6-6, creating 12 to create the Trinity. That's why on the 3rd, if you saw that triple like sacred flower of the crop circle that was shown. That's so significant because that represents the triple flame. It is the diamond within the crystalline heart of Gaia, which is us, the diamond hearts that are radiating that. So it requires the sacred divine feminine, sacred divine masculine to be harmonized. And that's why yesterday was so key in this harmonization. And the vocal is very important. The representation of our true spoken voice, the voice of our truth, the voice of the heart, no longer the voice of just the mental body or the head energy, the voice coming from Gaia's heartbeat into our heart, felt through our templates, coming all the way up and spoken at. A huge day in the cosmos, as well as our solar system, and then here on Earth. Huge, and especially there's a lot more cosmic alignment between the planets and the stars, which I'm not going to get into that. Now, what's important with this, then we take it to the 9, the completion energy.
Yeah. It was very powerful because each of us had our own experiences. As you know, in these gateways, it's very important just to give yourself that time, whether it's to go into meditation, go into nature, just have that space within. So, yesterday morning I was just feeling a little off, and one of my biggest medicines is to go into nature and just to really feel the love. So I took the paddleboard out and decided to go into our favorite park to go paddleboarding and just really connect with the energy that was moving through that day. And it was so powerful.
Yeah, because we want to share with this.
It was very powerful because
that. Wait, let me just sorry, my love. So yesterday morning, Michael, because while I'm like recovering, coming back or readjusted, Michael came out of the room and he was just not looking good. Before he could say anything, I'm like, and he knew. So we've learned like not to give attention. You already know is that just don't even give it attention. So it's like, okay, so I wanted to do my prayer. Michael just took the paddleboard, went. This is a high responsibility. We may not feel aligned, but don't give attention, don't address it, don't say, don't give it power. Recognize it, notice it, do whatever you need to do on your end to bring it into alignment. So I really appreciated that you did that yesterday, Hi, Mommy, we're on live stream.
It's all right.
Hi, Mommy. Okay.
And so when I went out to go paddleboarding, what was really amazing is I decided to do my morning prayer and meditation on the paddleboard and on the time frame where I could just allow the water and allow the energy just to bring me into exactly where Spirit wanted to take me. So as I was floating, all of a sudden in my opening morning prayer, I first connected with Yeshua. And it was powerful because during 6-6,
you didn't say that to me.
Yeah, well, there's so much happening. There was so much happening. And I remember as I was moving through, when I connected with Yeshua, he was expressing he could see, because in the beginning of the paddle, I was just like letting go of my frustration, letting go of just energies that I could see that was moving up within me, my own judgments, what I saw was happening. A little disappointed that in 2 weeks there was like some transformations happening that were coming up, but I could also see it affecting my own field. So it was beautiful how Yeshua said, he goes, in this ascension process, there's going to be the hills and the valleys. Remember, it is through your heart, it is through your love that guides you through each and every element. He goes, you have that heart and you have that energy. He's like, just be gentle with yourself.
Yeah.
Be soft with yourself. So that brought some beautiful tears. And right after Yeshua, I always meet Mary Magdalene. And Mary Magdalene, she always comes to me and she's like, you're doing such a wonderful job. We support you to the highest, though you may not feel it at times, because when the densities hit you so strong, just remember the gift that's within you is your purity and the innocence of love. Follow your heart. Follow that love through each and every moment that you're going through, and that will lead you through heaven's gates. And I just remember sitting with that and just being like, wow. And so those two I always meet first, and then I go directly to Archangel Michael. And this time I went to Archangel Michael, I was practicing, going deeper into opening my third eye and allowing the opportunity to just really visualize the white light in my third eye. And all of a sudden, as I'm lying on the paddleboard, I see myself, and I see, if you can imagine, like someone just lying on their back, there was this one body, 2 bodies, 3 bodies, 4 bodies,
Bye, Mama.
5 bodies, 6 bodies, as if like each body was in a different dimension and a different level that was arising and moving higher and higher and higher out. So I could actually feel this, like, almost like this level of, I can't describe it in words, like an outer body experience that could just see the separation of all the bodies in different planes. And it was super magical, because if you could imagine, I'm lying on the paddleboard, the wind is just kind of pushing the paddleboard, and I'm just allowing the paddleboard to flow as the sun's shining down. And the sun was coming down, and I could feel the bodies go all the way up, and just tears come through me, and just the washing away what I just felt of. Sometimes when your beloved is not feeling well, we sometimes take it on ourselves, or sometimes we get worried, or we hope that they get better. A natural thing that we are human, and as that human nature comes through, we have that compassion that we have to give back to ourselves, so that we don't, we have to be careful with our own judgments, or how one perceives versus another perceives. Point being is, it was such a powerful experience, because after that, it gave me all this energy to go to different areas along this beautiful, you can call it a lake, these canals of water, of affirmations, of connecting with different spirits through my prayer, that somehow, when I'm done this little journey, I get back in the car, and Honey's calling, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I look at the phone. It was 3.5 hours later. Somehow I was floating on this board. I was allowing the energy to come forth, and I just got lost.
You just allowed the stream to take you.
I just allowed the stream of flow of water to move through the energy, as I just felt so connected. And what Honey and I have been talking about is, when we're in prayer and meet our guides and masters, to take the time to really listen. And I just felt very blessed that Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, Archangel Michael, and the guides come through to really bring forth the energies that are needed. And I thought, at one point, when all of my bodies were coming up, at that point, there was this energy where all I felt and all I could imagine was my body being this ball of light and love, and to expand that out. And I knew that by being on the water, and the water is emotion, it's transformation, how I could just be in that state, and then breathe in that love, and then visualize, see my body being filled with that golden light. And then if you can imagine, like a pulse blasting out, all that golden light just went and just kept pulsing out, to the point that I don't know how long I was lying there, obviously for a long time, but it completely like washed away, rejuvenated, transformed all the energies I was feeling in the morning, and then came back just so excited to like say, Honey, oh my gosh, what happened? And then before I knew it, she's like, well, I have this experience.
God, let me tell you what happened. So it was so interesting, because while Michael was there, Michael was gone long time. So in my prayer, I felt a little bit more scattered yesterday when I said in my meditation. So, I started and, at my rose quartz crystal ball and just really sat there and started really getting into it. And once I got into it, I met with Archangel Michael again. And as I do every day, but from that Friday, there was nothing major again until yesterday. So yesterday morning, as he showed up again, he entered my field, but it wasn't as jarring how close he came in, because it seems like I had accumulated, no, how do you say adjusted to the vibration that close into my field. So then this time, as he put the sword up and he started spinning it, and I was sitting there, as he started spinning it, I saw these rays of light coming down, and he said telepathic to me, he said, hold your hand like this. So I held my hand like this, and then as these like crystalline rays of light that were coming down, it formulated a plasma, photonic plasma ray of light ball, like swirling in my hand, and it was extraordinarily beautiful. And then he said telepathically, he said, bring it into yourself. So as I brought it into myself, my physical body went boom, blast, as the first heartbeat took place. Then suddenly it's like it went into my emotional body, and my next heartbeat, then it was just like boom, like almost like an atomic blast inside of me. And then the next one, it went in to my mental body, it blasted it, and I could see like everything became illuminated. And then it went to my etheric body, same thing, then spiritual body. And then I saw, then suddenly, blasted with this pulse of light. And I remember I was like, wow, this is what the great order of Melchizedek, when he had channeled through, he had talked about this. So I was just being a witness, and at some point I felt I was literally in the center of the room. I'd elevated, I'd lifted off the ground. I was there, and it reminded me when I had died, when I left my body, I was just sitting, like I was just in space, like outside the room. And it was there was no awareness of my body whatsoever. That usually happens in meditation, but this was like a whole nother level. And I was just so aware and present in all my other bodies simultaneously, with this pulse of this golden blast. And then I was told, go ahead and blast it in each of these 33 points. So it started like pulsing out in each point, this cosmic Christ-like going out. And it was incredible. So somehow then I jarred, and I dropped back in my body, and I noticed, okay, I was in the body. Then Magdalene came, and I bowed my head, and she took her finger, and this similar ball of light, I can't tell you right now which vertebrae it is, but she put in one of my vertebrae back here, and then she took one in both of the palms. Then there was one here and a few other places in my body, and she said, this is how I want you to do the anointing at the ceremony. So I posted last week that we're going to have the Mary Magdalene feast July here in Washington, D.C. And so we're going to be doing an anointing for the sacred divine masculine. And so it was so incredible to receive that. So I experienced that. I hadn't seen Michael. Then Michael came, and we got a chance to talk about this. And why are we sharing this with you? Because we do our own individual meditation and we get to share. We're constantly sharing. And then on Wednesdays, we sit in the meditation after our own individual. And there's all of these things that are overlapping with us. And what we are aware of is that because of the sacred divine union relation we're in, because we're in monogamous union, and we're very dedicated in service to Yeshua Magdalene codes of light to bring the consciousness into the planet. That's what we're called to, the sacredness of it. So we have to do our own individual work. We also, all of us have to do anyway, and meet all shadow aspects of ourselves. Any part, the shadow means literally the areas that is not radiating the diamond clarity, whether it's in the physical, emotional, mental, etheric, or spiritual body, and then communicate it in our union, have the conversation about it, bring light to it, and release it. And when we release it for ourselves, we're releasing it from timelines of our lifetimes within the timeline of our constructs, then we release it also in the timeline of the on a planetary level, because it moves it from the disharmonic timeline into the crystalline divine timeline. So I feel this is very, very important. And that's why, like, for us is not casual. For us, that every day is a living practice, and everything that we encounter is a living example of practice. Whether I'm not feeling it, how I'm going to handle it with grace and canceling it, or the event and what have you, or we meet this, how do we meet here and not bring our dirt, our own dirt, which means what's still carbon in between us.
And what is so beautiful about sharing all this is why we express this out of the joy, out of the passion, and from our hearts, is because it's also a message for each and every one of you when you're in meditation, when you're in prayer, that they are there in any form, ascended masters, angelic beings, councils, elements, directions, however forms that you connect in your own ascension process. They're there to share the love, the light, the messages that come through. And it's, for us, it makes us very giddy and so excited to feel as they move through, what is it not only sharing on an individual level, but what's coming to the collective. And then to collaborate and see how these messages are beautiful. And I love, some of the things you wrote, Valerie, because, there are times when we can be very, very hard on ourselves. And I feel one of the most beautiful things is when Yeshua or Mary Magdalene speak. It always comes back as feel your heart, follow your heart, follow your love. And it's always in this deep compassion and deep love that they express out of the elegance. Never, ever expressing what's right or wrong. Always come from this grace, this beauty. It is so warming, and so I invite.
And this is very key, because that's how if you're receiving message from spirit side or the angels, anytime if you experience anything that's judgmental, no, you're not interacting with light. It's interference. No, somewhere in your field there's either hole or tear, or the lower mind is engaged. The lower three chakras are misaligned, and that way, whatever is open to you in your gateway is invited interference, and that interference is coming from that place of judgment. It is never, ever, ever when you interact with higher dimensional light beings, it's filled with love, and it's not one to put you on pedestal. They don't do that.
Well,
they embrace you with divine, and that's the huge difference that I feel is very important. There is no, if anything, like your ego totally shrinks, because it can't even stand being in that presence of the grace. The grace is so incredible.
It's such a divine space that we feel each time we come out of it. We're in this elevated vibrational sensation that's just like, wow, thank gosh we have this to connect with each and every morning, because it it really is our natural high to start the day in the element, to connect, to feel our divine sovereignty, and to really, what I love about it is to always know that we're supported,
That's right.
we're valued, we're held, we're cared for. And the message I also got yesterday from Archangel Michael, because I've been doing a lot with opening the third eye, is really believing within ourselves of what is moving through, and believing in them, believing in what their presence is doing in their nature and how that's directly affecting us.
Yeah.
In that belief, to bring it so high in the imagination, visualization, and creation within, to remind me to bring that forward, not just in the morning, but to stop several times, even if it's at a traffic light. And there's a moment of being like, I believe, and bringing that same energy, the same message in the morning, and bring that forward as well, just to remind, so it puts you right back into the vortex of your heart, to connect back in, so that it's a daily process. It's something that's a living process.
It's a living, conscious, awakened alignment. So because everything is from that place, it's really embracing that sacrificial fire, that illumination, that did I just say? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry. So it is. So that presence is constantly broadened. These living sacred flames are able to do their work through us, through our 12 chakras, through the crystalline part of our DNA, not from carbon. So I wanted to share that with you. So just before you read, two more things, right? It's exciting. Thank you for staying with us. We got a lot to share with that.
And thank you, Demetrius, for the
Demetrius,
reminder.
Yes, we have to drink a lot of water from yesterday, and
bring lots of minerals, lots of supplementation
and earthly
and nourishment, because this is the time when things are quite chaotic out there. It's our responsibility to create as much harmonization and balance within. So, Demetrius, always a blessing for your beautiful, beautiful messages that come through. Thank you.
And what's so interesting, so two more things I wanted to share with you. So, in the middle of this, so we have this, just go over what's coming up. So we have 6-9 on Sunday. 6-9, the 9 completes a cycle. This cycle energy is very important, because we need to wrap this up. So whatever this carbon is, we crystallize it. So we're bringing light to it. We're bringing areas of ourselves that we're not holding ourselves accountable. We're holding it accountable, but from place of love, not from place of judgment, because we're being present in the presence of the I am that is present. You see what I mean? So you can't fool yourself. That's why you have to stand tall in that vibration, and any part of you that is not purified will become purified, and just welcome it in. And as you welcome it in, these rays of light will do its things through the different bodies, and your bodies are going to go through the triggering process of purification, and just continue to be in gratitude. Purify. And the ascension gratitude is amazing. Gratitude is the ascension attitude, and not give yourself at all to say, oh, I'm sick, I'm having flu, I might, don't disrespect it, that's what I wanted to share. The other part of it is what I wanted to share is, so in these last couple of days, this is the funniest thing. So for my birthday, I have to share this is the craziest thing. So for my birthday, I really wanted my own Jesus statue. So most of I always refer to Yeshua, but I told Michael, I want a Jesus statue. So we went online and we found this one. It's amazing, white, gorgeous, delicious. Because I was like, wow, we don't have a Jesus statue here. So not that that we have all these different deities here. So anyway, having said that, so we ordered one, and we waited, didn't deliver. So I contacted them them, and they said, no, we had shipped it and he had delivered. Here it is. I was like, how strange, because whatever is delivered to us, we get an email and we get a code, we go pick it up and we bring it in. So it wasn't there. So contact them. They said, no problem. We send it to you. It will be delivered to you. So I was like, they said it was going to arrive Saturday. I was like, wow, look at this. We're going to be in Smithtown. I won't see it. So I wanted the tracking number. They sent the tracking. And then they responded. They said, no, we had sent it to you. You should have received it Saturday. See, it says delivered. Again, no delivery. So this is twice. I said, oh my goodness. I left a message for one of my best friends. I was like, so funny. My Jesus statue didn't arrive. I don't know why. I've been waiting for this for months. It's so ecstatic. I bought it from a Christian store. So she left a message. She's like, honey. I was like, she's like, you never say Jesus. I said, I know. I always say Yeshua. And I wanted really a gold Yeshua. But I got a white one because there was no gold one. I was going to paint it gold and put light language on the statue on his robe, just like, the golden robe. So it still hasn't arrived. It's the funniest thing.
Someone's being blessed by
So
Yeshua.
then I said, whoever. So I went tracked it. UPS wasn't sent. The FedEx is sent. So it's our postal delivery man. So I am ecstatic to go talk to him to see whoever opened that box needed this blessing. We still don't have it, and I have no idea what will happen. But it was so comical that my Jesus statue hasn't come. So perhaps we have to look for Yeshua statue.
Maybe
that is golden already.
Yeshua versus
exactly. So it's so funny. So fun. But again, instead of, there is no anger, it's just laughter. It's so amazing and funny. Last part, you're about to do this.
Okay.
So some of you may have seen this today when I was sitting in my prayer in this morning meditation, just like always, getting ready for today. I hear in Farsi language coming. Farsi, the native language I grew up in, but I can read and write, and I only know up to 6th grade, and but I don't speak it often. To my kids, sometimes I do to my mom and some of the friends, but not. I'm just so removed from the culture for 30 years, and it just is. So Hafiz, which most of you know, the famous Hafiz Iranian poet, 3 years ago showed up as one of my spirit guides, but there has been no connection, like no communication, nothing. And I've been putting it out like, wow, I want to make contact. Like, you're this incredible poet. Please, like, I would love to have some contact. So today I started hearing auditory in Farsi, this poetry. So I just like grabbed something and I started drawing. I started writing what was being said, and it's like it's poetry. I can barely speak Farsi, right? Even recite poetry. And then so I was like, wow. And then I stopped and I started writing it. Then it started again. So I wrote it, and it says, من شادی کردم در دل تو و صفا کردم پی خدا. ای شاد باش پیوند کار روزنامه. She says روزنامه, but I feel it was saying روزانه در بخش جهان است. So I don't quite grasp all of it, but I understand it's referring to spreading the light and what have you. So I said that, I was like, wow, is this Khayyam? Is this Hafiz? Wow, enchanted by it. Then I hear the voice say, no, I'm Mehudi. No clue who spirit side Mehudi is, who it is. I posted unfortunately, somebody responded back, here's this poet who is in spirit side. His name was Dariush Mehudi. So I'm about to learn who this is, why he dropped in. It's quite fascinating. But point being, when we meet in that space, in just from gratitude and joy, saying hello, greeting the spirit animals, greeting the spirit, guides, the angels and the archangels and ascended masters and the sacred orders and the galactic families and the federation councils. Like, there's this beautiful space that you're opening yourself in that interaction. When you come from love, you don't ever have to worry at all that you'll be interacting with lower dimensional beings, because it kicks them out. And you can stay in that and then you'll be surprised with this drop-in like experiences. And in our process of ascension, we are opening up to all of our higher gifts, because when the codes are aligned, or when we have this photonic blast, our DNA is changing. So as it's moving from the carbon to crystalline, you have more access. You may have not had artistic ability before, but suddenly you have. You may have not had singing ability before, suddenly you have. You may have not had telepathic communication before, you suddenly have. You may have not had, like, for example, mediumship ability, but suddenly you have. So just welcome it. Welcome it like, wow, I'm ascending. That means my spiritual gifts from all lifetimes, all plane, all timelines are returning. And this is a celebration. I feel the message that I really want to share is that ascension is celebration, is removing from the sufferings of the past into celebration, so we can embark of all that's new, what has already been there to come forward, so we can freely and easily share it with each other.
Thank you so much for sharing. I love how one time when you came out of meditation, you said that, wow, we're actually inviting each of them into our hearts, and how beautiful it is to acknowledge these just supreme, beautiful beings that have created such mastery in their lifetimes, and to meet them where they are in our hearts. It's just an incredible feeling, because we get to interact with them. So thank you so much.
And I feel the other part of it is, please don't try to convince anybody. Those who are sensitive, oh, can you turn off the heat, because I'm starting to get, sorry, the AC, sorry, man. And, please stay in your own, like, share it from your joy, but not try to convince anybody, not try to preach anybody, not try to really teach anybody. Just share from the joy and celebration, because those who are vibrationally sensitive, they raise their vibrations, such as you guys, you'll be able to receive this, because we're speaking in the same vibration frequency of the heart. And those who are not open to it, they may not receive it. And those who are very close will reject it. And that's okay. Just accept people where they are by honoring where you are. And you don't have to dim anything. You don't have to hide yourself. Be who you are and enjoy. Just because others cannot experience angels or ascended masters or higher dimensional beings, or like crystal beings or elementals and what have you, or the dragons, because they have more layers that they have to give themselves the permission to allow, as their DNA is still carbon. So there's a filter that won't give him. So you stay where you are and keep enjoying it, not really hiding it. I feel that's very, very important. Yeah. And don't give your energy to those who want to discredit you, because their lens is limited to this. Look how beautiful these experiences are, and that's why we share them, so you yourself can validate your own sacred experience. Yeah, exactly, like Sakura, you're saying you're sitting with Babaji. It's amazing. Like, look, many of us, if you have I should say this, sorry Michael, there's a lot to say. If you have an ascended master 1, 2, 3, 10, 30 in your field that have revealed themselves, believe me, is because you have had a soul agreement with them, because you have either been with them in one lifetime or another, have had many trainings with them in other planes, other dimensions. There's a soul agreement for them to work with you in here. And you're like a hot potato. When they finish the work with you, you pass the initiation freaking test, they hand you to another one. Then they sort of step on the side. The other one steps forward. Usually there are like 3 or 4 of them. Then they come, and start working with you. So it's very important. Don't mind those who are not working with ascended masters. That's maybe not in their soul agreement, and that too is okay. Is okay. Just it's okay. It's totally okay. And if they can imagine, actually have compassion for those who can experience it. There's this lashing out or judging you or wanting to diminish you or discredit you, because I feel deep inside there's a desire for them to also experience the joy and the grace and be touched by that presence and that direct interaction. That is truly the highest, I feel, jackpot you can win, is truly that.
And each of us are on our own journey. And
Yeah.
all of us on our own journeys experience exactly what we feel. So all we can do is just honor each other's journey,
Yeah.
honor each other's experience, and always just look at it in the gift of gratitude of what comes through.
Totally. So thank you so much for all that we got to share with you. We're so grateful. And today has been a really beautiful, beautiful experience. Michael, I can tell he's probably hungry, getting moving forward. Okay.
I'm a little lightheaded right
Slightly
now.
lighter,
I'm
because
ready.
we're speaking about the conversations. So just FYI, for those of you, I hope you receive our message. We are not in Long Island this weekend. It's rescheduled to September 7th. In 5 weeks from tomorrow, we will be in Toronto. We're so excited to connect with Toronto family of Light the Stars. This is our first time coming there. We cannot wait. If you know others that are in Toronto, please have them connect. We cannot wait to see them. And then we're back in, let me see. No, for here and for Summer Solstice, we're here in Maryland. We're completely booked with our event. But then in July, we have our Mary Magdalene Circle. And then we go down to North Carolina. Michael has an event in North Carolina in Hendersonville. And then we're fulfilling our 8/8. And end of September, we'll be then heading out. So I just want to tell you what's going on. So it's a little bit busy as we're getting ourselves ready with these vibrational alignments and the eclipses and all of that.
So as we always conclude with our beautiful levels, thank you, honey, for sharing these beautiful, inspired messages. As my head and my stomach are pointing to me.
His physical earthly realm is telling him, let's ground with food.
My humanism, which we both are.
No, you just smelled my mom's food. Let's be honest. He loves my mom's food.
And our humanism of when we have to eat and ground and
don't give it power. We're here right now. Okay, so tell them what you're doing.
So each week we read
every other
week we read beautiful messages from the angels, and so today is day 158 of the year. So today I'd like you guys just to close your eyes, breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, listening with your heart and feeling this beautiful message. Acknowledge your accomplishments. Beloved one, you've come far in your learning and understanding. You've put a great deal of effort into the process and have accomplished much already. We commend you for this and encourage you to acknowledge your accomplishments as well. When a mountain climber pauses midway up the peak to enjoy the view, his or her energy and motivation are revitalized. And so it is with you. Yes, you have your eyes upon higher goals, but you can still gain a lot from stopping for a moment to recognize all that you've done so far. Today, honor yourself for your accomplishments. Even if you feel that they're just humble beginnings. Your inner self appreciates that attention. So, thought for today as I read, repeat after me. I acknowledge my accomplishments.
I acknowledge my accomplishments.
And it feels good to honor my achievements.
And it feels good. It feels great to honor my achievements.
I enjoy the path on the way to my dreams.
I enjoy the path on my way to my dreams.
I've come far in my life.
I have come far in my life.
And have learned a great deal.
And have learned a great deal.
Aho.
Aho. That's a very important message,
Yeah,
Michael. It's very, very important. Thank you for that.
And just to follow that, I find one of the messages I've been receiving a lot is in this fast-paced continuum, how important it is not only to recognize oneself, but also to celebrate oneself. Because we can quickly go from one thing to another thing to another, and to really take a moment to recognize, to celebrate, to acknowledge, and to really bring forth that love, respect, and appreciation. If it's just a great exercise session, if it's a beautiful little humble piece that you've moving from maybe judgment to gratitude, whatever it may be, that appreciation, that celebration.
And you know the science behind that? I can't remember which of the councils, maybe Council of Light said that, just so that you say, when you just stop, pause, and you bring the acknowledgement, you bring all your body's awareness to this moment, so you become present. And when you become present, you're inviting the blessings of that gratitude, which is the abundance energy and the creation energy, from that into you, to move through all your bodies. Because when we move forward to another, we kind of bypass it. We don't allow it to come in and move through, go. So this allows the circular energy to continue through, and that becomes very important, because otherwise there's no welcoming and really allowing. Because we say, no, I'm just going to do it for others. I don't want to receive the blessings back. And while all of your other bodies are appreciating you, welcoming that vibration also into, because you move into the 0 point field of the oneness energy. And that's really the quantum recognition around it. I know you're getting hungry.
Lightheaded.
Okay, because we're talking. Okay, so here's the last card. Look, this is your lesson for today. The ascension cards. Let's see what the ascension energy for today is. See, like, ground love. Bring love to that stomach, baby. Bring love. No, bring love to that stomach. When he smells my mother's food. Hold on one second. Ascension. Let me see what the ascension energies are. Hold on, baby. This is when the lower 3 chakras take over.
Not really. It's when the blood sugar.
Fire!
Blood sugars.
Number 13. Fire transmutes the old and takes the new to a higher frequency. Archangel Gabriel supervises Thor, the elemental master of fire, and his salamanders. Your guidance is to ask them to transform the energy of conflict, then spread peace, warmth, and nourishment to people everywhere. You can ask fire to help you eat the right food so that you have the perfect fuel for your ascension journey. It will ignite your aura and keep your chakras fifth dimensional and glowing, so that you attract many others to you and lead with inspiration. Inspiration is the fire. Affirmation, let's repeat. I invoke fire to light my way to the new golden age.
I invoke my fire, light,
To light.
in my.
I invoke fire
I invoke fire
to light my way
to light my way
to the new golden age.
to the new golden age.
Fire is very, very essential because fire also represents that glowing sun energy, the radiance. Is the transmuting flame. I'm doing this a little bit more on purpose. I love you all so much. So, Mother, Father, God, dear Holy Alliance, dear sacred fires, sacred light, sacred flames, thank you so much for supporting, for guiding our ascension journey individually and collectively. Thank you for helping us gain the courage, gain the inspiration to take each action step with light, with love, to address every single encounter, especially when it is more of the lower minds or the lower densities. So we just continuously bring love and light to it. Help it lift up, to lift within us, to lift within others, to lift within humanity, to lift in Gaia, to help all of us rise up into our true ascended state that we agreed to incarnate on earth and to embody and to embark. So much love to all of us. It's a celebration for all of us. Love you all so much. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Sunshine. Thank you, Fiolera. Thank you, Demetrius. Thank you, Sekunha. I don't know who else was on.
Thank you, Ellie. Thank you, Letty. Thank you, Fiorella. Thank you for all individuals that have had their comments itself. It's such a blessing that you guys write and share your comments, not just for us, but for everyone that is able to see this. We're very grateful, very honored.
And
to
if
have
it
you.
served you, please make the YouTube link is going to be available on our page. And by the way, we reached 7,000 fans yesterday. Big celebration. This is so huge for us, for all of us, because that seventh energy is finally here, and so much love, because I look at it like, wow, more light is going to come up. Each post, each like, each love, each sharing keeps spreading the light through the diamond frequency of love. So thank you so much as we celebrate with you. And Michael, put some joy into that before you concentrate on all this food. Oh my goodness. True colors are showing up.
Lightheaded showing up.
I'm lightheaded showing up. So thank you so much. We're going to post it on the page and feel free to share it. Love you all so much. Such a joy we got to celebrate with you today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Aho namaste Lakesh. Bonures. Hash hash.